There is a particular kind of pain that has no wound you can show anyone. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't bruise, but it sits somewhere between your chest and your throat, and it stays there. Sometimes for months, sometimes for years. It is the pain of holding on to someone who is already gone. We don't talk enough about how natural this is, how deeply human. Because from the moment we are born, we are wired for connection. The infant who cries for its mother isn't being dramatic. It is following the oldest instruction written into living things. Stay close to what keeps you alive. But here is what no one tells you when you grow up. That same wiring, the one that makes love possible, is the same wiring that makes loss feel like a threat to your survival. When a relationship ends, when a friendship slowly dissolves, when someone you loved becomes a stranger, your nervous system does not process that as a social event. It processes it as danger, as disappearance, as a small death. And so you hold on. You replay conversations. You check their profile. You keep the old messages. You construct elaborate versions of them in your mind. Not who they were, but who you needed them to be. And you mourn that person. That invented, perfect, needed version of them. Carl Jung said that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But the inverse is also true. Everything we cling to in another person reveals something we haven't yet found in ourselves. Think about that slowly. When you cannot let go of someone, it is rarely about them. It is about what they represented. Safety, worth, the sense that you were chosen, that you mattered, that the world made sense when they were in it. The attachment is not to the person. The attachment is to the feeling they gave you. And that feeling, that is yours. It always was. There is a Buddhist concept called upadana. It translates roughly as clinging or grasping. And the teaching is not that love is wrong, or that connection is an illusion to be escaped. The teaching is that suffering comes when we try to make permanent what is inherently temporary. Every relationship has a season. Some seasons are long, some are painfully short, and some end not because of failure, but because they were complete. Because they gave you exactly what they were meant to give, and then they were done. The hardest relationships to release are not the bad ones. The hardest ones are the ones that were genuinely good and simply ended anyway. Because those ones don't give you anger to hold on to. They give you grief. Pure, clean grief. The kind that sits quietly in a Sunday afternoon and reminds you what it felt like to be known. Let it sit. Don't rush past it. Don't medicate it or distract it or rebound from it. Sit with the grief, because the grief is the proof that something real happened, that you were present, that you let someone in. The Stoics had a practice called memento mori, the contemplation of ending. Not to become morbid, but to sharpen presence. To remind themselves that the banquet always ends, and therefore each moment of it deserves full attention. You can apply that to love. What if you loved with the awareness that it is temporary? Not as a threat, but as an instruction. Be here. Be fully here. Because this version of this will not last forever. And when it ends, when it must end, you do not have to pretend it didn't matter. You are allowed to grieve it. You are allowed to miss it. You are allowed to carry it with you, quietly, in the way that good things always leave a mark. But you are also allowed to continue. You are allowed to stop organizing your life around an absence. To stop measuring your days by what you lost. To stop making a shrine out of a relationship that had a beginning, a middle, and an end, like every true story does. Letting go is not betrayal. Letting go is not forgetting. Letting go is the recognition that your capacity to love is not diminished by loss. That the same heart that broke is the same heart that is capable of being broken again. And that this is not a flaw. That is the whole point. You were not built to hold on forever. You were built to love, to lose, to grieve, to continue, and to love again. The sunset is beautiful precisely because it ends. Let it end.